Hey everybody, it's Nathan from Nathan Reads the Bible. I'm doing this quick podcast on cursing, actually, because I said I was going to, and I thought I was actually going to have more to say on this, or going to read more to read on it. What I have to say is that I have a problem with this, and I want to get it out of my vocabulary as much as possible. But I'm going to read what I found. It's from Focus on the Family. They're a pretty well-known group that put out sound doctrine. I don't expect to find anything in here in this article that will, I don't know, make people believe the wrong thing. So that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. What the Bible says about swearing and dirty words. All right, what's so bad about profanities? My parents won't let me watch movies with bad language, but what they call swearing is just part of life. My friends use four-letter words all the time. This is obviously written for somebody much younger, but you know what? Same truths hold evident for young and old, so here we go. The words are just old Anglo-Saxon terms for normal bodily functions. They're only dirty because some people say so. Besides, the Bible doesn't say anything against them other than telling us not to take God's name in vain, but that's different. These are like common would be, I guess, what would you call them? Common arguments. Common arguments for cursing, for being able to use curse words without it counting as a sin. And really, what this boils down to is a game humans like to play with God called, if I don't think it's a sin, maybe it's not a sin. And I think it's funny because we're trying to play a game with our Creator. Like, the Creator of the universe, and we think that He's not going to figure out that we're playing these mental games inside of our head with these words to try and, or any little sin, any sin that we try and come up with some slick excuse for to fix our mind about it, so our mind works its way around it and we feel fine. We should probably stop. Like right around where our mind starts to do that, just stop yourself, because you're probably not going the right way. You're probably going to do or say or continue to do or say things that God doesn't want you to. And you've just made a flimsy excuse inside your mind that you think that the God of the universe doesn't figure out. That's just silly. Just be honest. I mean, it's a simple thing. If you can't be honest with the God of the universe in your personal relationship with Him, then there's a lot more to work on there, I think. Really. I mean, if you can't have an honest conversation with somebody that's not even like right in front of you, then your level of like honesty is like, you should work on that, I would think. I would want to work on it, because I mean, you can't lie to God. God knows everything. He's hip to the game. Okay, so anyways, all right. That's my soapbox about games that we play with God. He's got them figured out. It's not worth it. Okay. Here is the answer to all of those arguments for cursing. The Bible has more to say about bad words than we realize. Check out what the Apostle Paul says about the language Christians should use. Watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps, each word a gift. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29. Let me see if that's what pops up. Oh man, and it pops up Bible Gateway too. That's helpful. I gotta get past some commercials. Watch the way you talk. Let nothing foul or dirty come out of your mouth. Say only what helps, each word a gift. See, and words have a lot more, they actually weigh a lot more. I mean, if you put the right emphasis in the right places on the right words, man, they can mean something. You know what I mean. Come on. Anyways, so Paul also says, there should not even be a hint of sexual sin among you. Don't do anything impure. And do not always want more and more. These are not the things God's holy people should do. There must not be any bad language or foolish talk or dirty jokes. They are out of place. Instead, you should give thanks. And I honestly think that's great advice. And I read this earlier on Facebook, so I, of course, added more than what I said on Facebook anyways. But, you know, like, don't play games with God, first off. And secondly, try not to curse. Like, I know it's something that probably most human beings will fail at. But you keep trying. Like I said, I said on my Facebook, if you keep swinging at curveballs, at some point you're going to figure out how to hit a curveball. You know what I mean? So keep swinging. Living a sin-free life, probably impossible. But if you keep swinging for it, you're going to get closer. I would hope. That's what I think, at least. And that's what I try to do with my Christian life. I know I'm not perfect. Nobody is. But I try every day to get closer to God, and I try to work on the sins that I can call out, on myself throughout the day, and I try to chill out on them. If you took my mouth now versus my mouth like a year and a half ago, whoa. The difference would be night and day with the amount of curse words that used to fly out of my mouth. It's crazy. But if you put some concerted effort into it, it's not impossible. All right, here we go. The meaning of words can change. Tracing the history of words to find out why they're seen as profanity can be interesting, but that information has nothing to do with the way people use the words in modern times. As Christians, we should consider how these words are perceived in our culture today. For example, what do people really mean when they use the F word? Well, you can use that for just about everything. What are they trying to communicate? Usually bad things, in a way, I mean, usually that's when the line is drawn. When you start throwing out F-bombs, that's serious, you know what I mean? Usually, I start taking people pretty serious when they start throwing around the F-bomb. How does it feel when someone says it to you? That's one to consider. It's a good one. Because I don't really like when people curse up and down at me. It feels disrespectful in a way now. Now, if it's friendly, it's a different story. It's a different story, because my friends from high school, God bless them and God bless their souls. I pray that they all get right with God in due time. But I promise till the day we're 65 would probably still flip me off as a greeting, because that's my friends from high school. It's just one of those things. I didn't have the greatest friends in high school, but you know what? They're still friends. And they were pretty good. Besides some of the dumb stuff we did. Anyways, okay, so is there any way the F word can build others up? Well, if you say you're effing incredible, I mean, that's a way. So, and at the end of this, does it ever benefit those who hear it? And at the end of this, it says, of course not. Well, I mean, I'm telling you right now that I beg to differ just a small bit. Now, do I believe that it's a sin to say the F word? Yeah, it's one of those, but I think it's one of those sins that God doesn't get overly surprised when we commit. Let me say that. I think there's a level of sin that, okay. All right, so here it says, profanity is always negative and hurtful. In fact, swearing amounts to verbal abuse. And Jesus had some important things to say about the seriousness of that issue. Let's see what Jesus had to say in Matthew chapter 5, verse 22. Hold up. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. And whoever says, you fool, will be liable to hell of fire. Okay. But that doesn't say anything about... I don't mean to be confused on my own podcast, but I'll be honest, that didn't really explain a whole lot to me. Let's go back to where we are. Instead, we should speak... Now, this is what I will get on board with 100%, because this is the way we should speak to each other, and it's much more productive to speak to each other politely and calmly. You get much more out of a conversation with somebody if you treat them with respect and you talk to them calmly. Oh my gosh, night and day, the kind of difference you will get from people. Okay, so instead, we should speak positive and encouraging words. The Apostle Paul says, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to teach, how you ought to answer each person. Hold on, let me read that again since I messed it up. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. That's supposed to be Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, but is it? Let's find out. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Well, I thought I was going to find some great words on cursing, and you know what? I think I did find some great words on cursing. When it comes to cursing, I think we all need to be just about everything else in our lives that deal with sin and our spiritual walk. We need to be our own self-guide sometimes on these things. There can't be somebody looking over your shoulder 24/7, besides God, to correct you. You know what I mean? So when it comes to cursing and other sins of such nature, in a lot of people's worlds, sexual sins happen just as frequently as curse words do. You still need to make amends with God, I believe, for, those kind of sins. I've talked about that previously, whatever they may be. Whatever sins you commit sexually you need to deal with God. That's between you and God, and also the person that you committed that sin with. I mean, you might talk with them about their walk with the higher power. I don't know. These things are all very complicated, and they're all interpersonal, and there's all these different little, what about this, and what about that, and what really it boils down to when it comes to having a life lived well is, now, I did say that you can't have somebody looking over your shoulder 24/7, and I don't think that you can, but I do believe that if you get yourself into a church with a good pastor, with good sound doctrine and that is hospitable, and there are plenty of people around with plenty of biblical knowledge. Find somebody there that knows more about the word than you, and then learn more about the word than them. Or at least try. I don't know. I mean, it's something to work towards. That's kind of maybe not that Christian of a way to think about things. But the point that I'm getting at is that if you take your walk seriously, you'll think about going to maybe somebody different than a podcaster for the ultimate advice. But like was said in the article that I read, positive speech, affirming speech is so much more helpful in the world than negative and profane speech. And that is what we should really sum up as the lesson for today. I mean, really, when it boils down, after all that I read there. So thanks for tuning in. Let me say a quick prayer, and I'll throw the rest of the day to you and God. Dear Lord, I thank you for this podcast tonight, Lord. I thank you for the ability to put this out, and I thank you for giving me everything that I have, Lord. I thank you for my car, Lord. I thank you for my house. I thank you for everything, literally, that I have. My computer that I work on, everything, Lord. I just praise you and thank you for it. It's amazing to me that you have been able to put together the life that I live. And I pray that you help everybody that is listening and that isn't listening out there, Lord. I pray that you help them live as good of a life as you can possibly help them live. Any possible way that you help, you do. And I know you do, Lord. Because you care about the clothes on our backs. If you care about the clothes on our backs, I know you care about what we do, like how we do in life, Lord. Beyond that, Lord, I want to pray for people's anxiety levels out there in the world, because school is coming up. Getting ready for back to school is coming up. I'm sure a lot of younger folks out there have anxiety about their classes probably coming up. People getting close to graduation may have some thoughts about what the future holds with AI and whatnot. I pray that you would help all those that are dealing with anxiety in the world right now. And those that are praying especially about it, Lord, I pray that you answer their prayers and you look after them, Lord, for I also have many anxiety issues of my own that I come to you about on a regular basis, and it's a pretty regular thing with you, God. Beyond that, I want to pray like I do every day for peace on earth, Lord. I pray this in your name. Peace all over the globe. Everywhere there is fighting, Lord, I pray that you work your way into those situations and you work your way into those men's hearts and you find a way to get them to stop pulling those triggers, Lord. Oh, God, it would be so amazing to wake up one day and see peace on the news. That would be a beautiful day in this world. I pray all this in your name, Lord. Amen. All right. I hope you all are blessed. I hope you all stay safe. And I hope you all be just a little dangerous if you need to for Christ. Because every now and then, a situation might call for it. Never know. Other than that, be safe. Like I said, safety first. Safety always. All right. Have a good night.